Dear students, today we are going to learn about sequence of tense. What is sequence of tense? The sequence of tense implies when two clauses make up a sentence. The tense of a verb in the subordinate clause changes in accordance with the tense of the verb in the main clause. For example, I went to the restaurant as I am hungry. Is it correct? No, it's incorrect. Now example 2. I went to the restaurant as I will be hungry. Is it correct? No. Still it's wrong. So what's the correct answer? The correct answer is I went to the restaurant as I was hungry. So we need to determine the tense of the principal clause and modify the tense of subordinate clause accordingly, as there should be a relative coherence of time. If there is no coherence of time in the two clauses, then the sentence will be incorrect. To maintain the sequence of tense, we should maintain some rules. These rules are dictated by logic. An action in the future obviously can't happen before an action in the past. In writing, it's a matter of looking at your clauses and sentences and determining when each action is happening relative to everything else. The past must come before the present and the present before the future. If the main clause is in past tense, then the subordinate clause can be in the past indefinite, past continuous, or past perfect tense. For example, she visited our home while she was studying in London. The main clause is in past tense. She visited. So the subordinate clause, we can say she was studying in London. Was studying is past continuous. Let's see this example. The cat was bathing because his or its feet are dirty. It's incorrect because in the main clause we are using was bathing. So in the subordinate clause we can't say are dirty. Next sentence, the cat was bathing because his feet will be dirty. Again wrong. Both the sentences are wrong because the tense of the independent clause is in the past, was bathing. The verb in the dependent clause should also be in the past, as illustrated in the sentence below. The cat was bathing because his feet were dirty. However, there is an exception. In cases where a universal truth is conveyed, the present tense may be used after the past tense. Consider this example. Even the early doctors knew that washing hands prevents infection like corona. Now, in this sentence, hand washing, it is a fact that it prevents the infection. It's a universal truth that doesn't change with the time, so it can be expressed in the present tense. Dear students, now let's start the rules. What are the rules? In order to use these tenses correctly and meaningfully, we must remember to follow some rules. Are you curious about those rules? Well, let's read them on the next slide. Rule number 1. I have already explained this rule. A past tense in the principal clause or main clause is always followed by a past tense in the subordinate clause. Example, I found out that she was out of town. So in both the clauses, the tense is in the past. However, there is an exception to this rule. When the main clause is in the past tense, The dependent clause or subordinate clause can be in the present tense if it is citing a universal truth. The children were taught that honesty is the best policy. Now let's start the rule number 2. If the tense in the main clause is in the present or future tense, then the tense of the dependent clause can be in any tense based on what needs to be conveyed. For example, I know that you are paying attention. I know that you are listening to me. I hope you will understand. She is saying that she is all right. She says she is fine. Rule number 3. If the main clause is in the future, then the dependent clause is usually in the present tense. And we connect the both clauses by using the words like when, until, before, after. For example, you will send me homework when you will finish. Is it correct? No. So what is correct tense? You will send me homework when you finish. Example 2. I will go to play when the rain will stop. What's the correct tense? I will go to play when the rain stops. Rule number 4. Note that when the main clause is introduced by the conjunction of purpose, the following rules are observed. We use may, M-A-Y, in the subordinate clause when the main clause is in the present tense. And we use might, M-I-G-H-T, in the subordinate clause when the main clause is in the past tense. For example, I study that I may pass. I will study that I may pass. I studied that I might pass. We eat that we may live. He ate that he might not die. Rule number 5. Expressions such as if only, it is time, wish that, what if, are usually followed by past tense. For example, I wish I was a bit taller. It is time we started working. He talks as if he knew everything. I wish I could eat another ice cream.